Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the newest issue of Warhammer 40k Imperium magazine. Now, as per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course drop a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys and it goes an absolute massive way to help the channel too. Now, this week we're on issue 10 of Imperium magazine, and you should have the other part to the Necron Warriors and Scarabs. So you should have one set of Scarabs and you should have the other 6 Necron Warriors. I'm not going to lie, in all honesty, I have exactly the same sprue as last week. So, as I've already kind of started on the Scarabs and not the Warriors, that is exactly the same sprue. When I first saw it, I didn't quite believe it, and I thought I'm just imagining things, and then I checked it, and yeah, I've got exactly the same sprue as last week, so I have, more Scarabs than I probably need, and I have probably another bit of Warriors that I don't really need, but yeah, so, happy days. If you're like me though, all I can do is just get in touch with Hatchet Partworks. At the end of the day, you've bought your issue of a magazine, and it's their fault for making the muck up, so get in touch with them, email them. Who knows what the response is going to be. I only noticed this just as I was about to start filming, so I've not had a chance to get in touch with them, and I don't expect a reply very fast from them, but yeah, I will be emailing them straight after this. Anyway, into the issue itself. So we get some more of the background stuff. So this is all about your naming and weaponing war gear names. So of course, starting off with Ultramarines. So the Space Marines bear some of the most ancient and powerful weapons, armour and tools of war known to humanity. Some of these have been born by the Adeptus Astartes' greatest warriors, and their names have become the stuff of legend throughout the Imperium. So, the war gear of the Ultramarines, in addition to their weapons, Space Marines are equipped with a wide variety of armour, shields and other powerful war gear. Some of these items, for example the armour Indomitus and the shield Eternal, have been in service for thousands of years. So, a chapter's armoury contains a wide range of legendary war gear which has been born by their greatest warriors. You can use this chart here to name the war gear used by your own Space Marines. So you can have things, for instance, like the Guard of Asurism, the Aegis Impervious, Armour of the Bold, or you could have Armour of Ultramar, or you could have the Shield of the Bold, for instance. So you can choose your your prefixes and choose your suffix using D33. So you'll be using 2 dice to add up to what your the score is essentially, and doing it that way. On the next page, about adding a bit more to your range weapons and then to your melee weapons. So for instance, the bolters, you could name, for instance, Heretic's Lament or Heretic's Doom, for instance, Vengeful Dread or Explosive Death. So plenty of different names. And you can also use your melee weapons as well. So Blade of Wrath or Hammer of Judgment, Primarch's Purity, for instance. So pretty decent, it's pretty cool, and it adds a little bit of extra flavour to your game, which is always really, really good. Then we get information about the actual Space Marines' ranged weapons themselves. So, Space Marines must battle a variety of deadly foes, some of whom are so numerous and possess such incredible firepower that they cannot be engaged with melee weapons alone. A chapter's armoury contains many types of lethal ranged weapons. Some are designed for precision and accuracy, while others deliver the most devastating payloads imaginable. So, for instance, you can have bolt weapons, which is your standard bolters and stuff like that. So, these are weapons most commonly associated with the Adeptus Astartes. Bolt weapons come in many shapes and sizes, from relatively light bolt pistols to belt-fed heavy bolters. All bolt weapons fire explosive shells that are designed to detonate upon penetrating the armour or flesh of a target. So bolt weapons are your standard projectile weaponry, essentially. You have your plasma weapons, so They are energy-based weapons that fire pulses of superheated matter. Shots fired from plasma weapons are as blindingly bright and searingly hot as solar flares. Plasma weapons can be supercharged before firing, increasing their lethality at the risk of overheating and wounding or killing the bearer. So there is always a possibility of it kind of essentially backfiring on you. Melter weapons are designed for use against tanks, fortifications and other heavily armoured targets. These weapons work by causing fusion reaction using volatile gases. The resulting energy is projected as a blast of heat that can burn through almost any material, and the closer the target, the greater the effect. And then you have your flame weapons, which are of course flamethrowers really. So they fire jets of liquid fuel, usually promethium. This fuel is ignited as it leaves the muzzle of the weapon, resulting in a short-range burst of searing flame. Those caught in the path of this fire die agonising deaths as they are engulfed. Screams of the dying can further serve to demoralise the foe. And of course, there are the bigger weapons like the auto weapons, for instance, which are ballistic ranged weapons that fire solid slug ammunition. Space Marines favour large caliber auto weapons capable of high rates of fire, such as autocannons, and these weapons are often mounted on vehicles and dreadnoughts or carried by specialised units such as suppressors. Then there are the last weapons, which are directed energy weapons, which are also very, very long range, and they fire beams of high intensity amplified light that burn through their targets. Then you have your Volkite weapons, which fire rays of heat so intense that when they strike a victim, they can reduce flesh and armour to ash. And then you have your grav weapons, which work by firing streams of particles that affect the gravitational field around the target, rendering them much heavier or lighter, depending on the gun's setting. These weapons are particularly useful against heavily armoured targets, as they can be used to crush the victim by increasing its already vast weight. And then, of course, they also have some grenades, which grenades are always fun. So they have crack grenades, they have frag grenades, and they have melter bombs as well, which are, handy to have, I suppose. Then we get a bit of information about the Necron Legion. So, drawn from the lower levels of a Necron society, there are their vast and unrelenting legions. Formed of several different types of Necron, the legions are the core of the Necron Warriors. It is beneath their grinding advance that the Necron's mortal foes shall fall. So, with the Necron legions, of course, they try to field as much as possible. So they have Immortals, they have Warriors, they have Tombblades, and they have Death Marks. So the Immortals were once the most elite soldiers of their race. Unlike Necron Warriors, they have retained their tactical and strategic experience and can fight independently of their noble superiors. The Death Marks are assassins and snipers. Ancient Necron codes forbid the use of Death Marks against honourable foes. Fortunately, the Necrons view most aliens as little more than vermin. Then you have your Warriors, which of course are essentially your mass infantry. So they form the cold heart of the Necron legions. They are slow in both mind and body, but are utterly implacable, devoid of emotion, and bound completely to the will of their masters. And then you have your Tombblades as well, which are Necrons, hardwired into swift speeders. They fly in unpredictable corkscrew patterns that make them difficult to shoot down as they strafe enemies with devastating firepower. So, a little bit more information about the Necrons themselves and how their legions work and the core of their army works as well, which is always pretty cool. And we are probably going to get models of all of these as well, hopefully. So that should be really, really good fun. I'm looking forward to getting some Immortals, personally, because they look pretty good, as well as like the flayed ones as well, which look really, really cool and absolutely bonkers as well, which is always really, really good to see in your minis. Then we have the how to paint. So this is carrying on your painting of the Necron Warriors and Carpe Scarab swarms. So this is just kind of giving you a bit of a hint of how you can paint them. Doesn't mean you necessarily have to paint them in this way, but it is actually a pretty decent kind of paint scheme and very, very easy to follow. Have a bit of fun with it, enjoy it, and yeah, I'd love to see what you're painting up. So if you wanted to, you can join my Discord server and post your pictures of how you're getting on with your Necrons or your Space Marines. Then we've got the actual other bits and pieces as well. So this is going very much a black and good old silver and metallic colours, so entirely up to you how you want to paint them though, but this is kind of your bog standard scheme. Then you have your playthrough for the week. So the playthrough itself is the Legion assembles. Slowly and inexorably the Necrons of Megaria have begun to rise from their crypts. Phalanxes of Necron Warriors lead their resurgence, driving towards the surface. So you're literally using your Necron Warriors against your Assault Intercessors. So the idea is you use your 10 Necron Warriors, or in my case 8, and you go up against your Assault Intercessors that we've had recently, and away you go. So you've got 3 Assault Intercessors, you're going on your large battle map, and you have your Necrons set up. So the idea is that you're having Necron set up with the Ghost Reapers and then your good old Ghost Flayers, and you separate them, but it's entirely up to you if you've gone with them having them weaponry and that kind of way of doing it. I personally am going to go with Reapers, and just Reapers in all honesty, because I also have another 10 of the Necrons as well at home, and I'm going to go through, have it one set of one each probably at some point when I get around to painting them more than anything. But yeah, follow the rules and references, and this is a fairly straightforward one. It's still teaching you how to play it, so there will be kind of proper battles and everything like that, but we'll see later on, that will give you a little bit more freedom and won't kind of baby step you through it in the near future. But really, really good stuff and quite enjoyable to play, so really good fun. Moving on though, next week we have, of course, that Primaris Librarian in the Phobos armor, which is a really, really cool unit as well, so definitely a mag issue to pick up. And we also get the dry brush, so pretty handy to have because dry brushes are always very, very good. And then issue 12, paint. So we have Agrax Earthshade, Canaptech Alloy and Screamer Pink on their way. And we'll also get some new rules that add to your rules for your heroes for both factions, and how to utilise them a little bit differently. With next week's issue as well, he brings in the psychic powers that you're going to be able to use, so should be really fun and enjoyable, and yeah, good stuff. Now, I'm off to go email Hatchet Partworks about my missing minis and the fact that there's, you know, I've got the wrong sprue, and yeah, enjoy your evening, have fun, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye bye now.